How's it going, guys? My name is Tony Hannity, and you are currently watching the LTG show from the LTG network. Show is brought to you by audible.com. Get your free audiobook trial at audibletrial.com/lazy. Over 500,000 books to 50,000 books to choose from literary works such as Shakespeare, all the way to nonfiction, science fiction, and even periodicals on a daily basis. If you ever want to get in contact with us, you can always call us at 707-722-5299 or email us at comments@lazytechguys.com. So, what is up? I'm Tony Hannity, your host for this evening, and actually, I'm all by myself. Unfortunately, Mr. Sean Wilburn had to take the night off, and my other co host, Mr. Andrew Lee, is currently twitching. And if you followed our other podcast the other day, then you know what we mean. We don't mean that. He's actually live gaming on Twitch right now. So go check him out in a second screen if you have that capability. But boy, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And the fact that April Fool's is tomorrow, we already have a few stories related to April Fool's that we kind of wanted to bring up. Actually, you know what? I kind of shot myself in the foot with that because I wanted to bring up this. This came out from OnePlus, and they are the company that designed the OnePlus One, that really awesome game changer of a phone, the flagship killer that for all intent purposes was a great phone for the price, but you know, they had a lot of mishaps after the fact. There was a rumor that they were coming out with a new product in the spring, and we finally got some more information on that. So if you go to oneplus.net/game changer, they have a little kind of AutoCAD design of what looks to be a quadcopter. And this is really their marketing ploy here, just kind of going into their whole philosophy of never settling and how that could correlate to, you know, drones and quadcopters. And if you go through this whole marketing website that they've devoted to this drone, it's really, really well done. And there's even a, if you go to their YouTube channel, there's even a YouTube video kind of showing off a little bit of what they had in mind. I mean, they call it an aerial ballet. The actual name of this is the DR1. It's got 4 independent rotors that automatically adjust for wind speed and atmospheric shifts. And they make it seem like, you know, the greatest thing that they have ever created in the drone atmosphere, or the drone, you know, I guess, you know, the drone world. And at the end of the day, at least for us who do celebrate it, happy April Fools. Now, you can actually still buy this. I mean, when you actually look at the final product, it looks like a cheap piece of plastic, and you can actually buy this right now. They have a limited amount for $19.99. So, you know, you could probably go to Walgreens or even Walmart or Rite Aid and buy a drone that's pretty much the same kind of caliber, or lack thereof, for about $19 or $30, you know, even $15 if you know, in Chinatown or something. But I think at the end of the day, if you were to buy this, you're buying it because you just enjoy the joke. You just enjoy the fact that OnePlus, you know, at this point, they aren't taking themselves completely too seriously when it comes to this, but they really did a really good marketing campaign for this. And so hopefully in the future, when they do finally release an actual device, whether it be a phone or a tablet or the final experience of Lollipop and their Oxygen OS, they won't have any kind of marketing hiccups where they single out gender or other things that they've done in the past. So yeah, so good job on this one, OnePlus. Maybe you have a different marketing team. I don't know, but another April Fool's joke that came out today from Google. As you know, Google does a lot of stuff for April Fools. They have this contraption. They're kind of talking about how, we're all about electronic mail, but we all still have mailboxes. So why doesn't our mailbox do what we have our email inbox do? Introducing what they call the Smart Box. So Smart Box by Inbox, and hopefully you can see the video here. Smart Box by Inbox not only will receive your mail just like normal, but it's touchless. So it will automatically open for you. You can smell your mail. The mailman can open it, but it will deflect any kind of spam. You'll get notifications in your email letting you know that you have physical mail. And I'll skip ahead here. Not only that, there's a tablet on the side of it, and you can take it with you. This thing is awesome. It is hilarious. And yes, if you haven't figured it out by now, it is a complete joke. But the thing is, last year when they did the whole Pokemon trainer and you collected all the Pokemon, they actually sent something to the people that fully, fulfilled the whole Pokemon master stuff at the end. So in this ad, there's an email. So if you email inbox@google.com before April 2nd, you can get an invite for Smartbox. Now, I know that I'm not going to actually get the Smartbox. I'm not stupid. I mean, within reason. But for this particular thing, I know it's just a joke. But what could they send me? I don't know. Or could they send me anything? Or is their email inbox itself for this smart box just being filled up and they're going to delete all of it? I don't know. I already have inbox and I love it for my Gmail purposes. So that's pretty cool. There's a bunch more. There's the Google Panda, which really mimics Conan's WikiBear. I highly recommend you go check out WikiBear on the Conan O'Brien show on TBS. If you just go to youtube.com, there's a bunch of videos about it, and it is hilarious. It's this cute little bear that basically is kind of plugged into Wikipedia, and you ask it a question, and then it gives you the answer, and then it gives you a related topic about the whatever answer, but it is off the wall and dark and scary and not fit for kids whatsoever. So Google created the Google Panda. There's the Google Panda 5, which is smaller, and the Google Panda 6, which is bigger, and it's basically a plush panda bear. And it's cute as hell. And you can talk to it. It'll give you answers. And it's so cute. It's like, yeah, I don't need a phone. I just have my Google Panda. I think that's adorable. Also because my daughter would love it. And also because the one of the topics that we're going to talk about today is about toys that talk back to you. So before we get into that, I do want to touch on some things that came out last week. And one of them, Twitter finally launched Periscope for iOS. So it's not on Android yet. And so in the interim, I'm still using the other applications like YouNow and Hangwith. And, because all the tech pundits and all the people in my particular social demographic are already on Meerkat or Periscope, everybody that's on YouNow and Hangwith, or at least the people that I see, are like 18 and under, and it's just weird, and I feel kind of creepy. In my profile, I make it very well known that I'm doing this as a social experiment for tech news only. I am not here to be your friend. I'm not here to solve your problems. And and I personally, I don't watch other people's streams. Also, because of that, I don't want people thinking that I'm there for nefarious reasons. But my social experiment for those apps has actually kind of slowed down, but really only because of my data rate. And there's already been some articles from a number of tech companies and publishers and journalists out there saying, yeah, these streaming apps are great. They're fun, but they do eat up a lot of your data bandwidth. And unless you're on an unlimited plan, like on Sprint or T-Mobile, or I guess grandfathered on AT&T or Verizon, then you're kind of screwed. I'm kind of screwed. So I've got maybe 5 days left in my overall billing cycle, and about 7 gigs left. And with my daily data habits, I guess, I'm probably going to go through that pretty quickly, especially since I've got 4 other people on the account. So wish me luck. Hopefully I don't go over. Otherwise, I'm blaming you. No, I'm not. Just kidding. But yeah, Twitter launched Periscope, and within the first like hour, it hit not critical mass, but it hit the same amount of users that Meerkat hit, which I believe was 300,000 users. I have to find the actual number again. But I mean, the idea between Meerkat and Periscope is pretty much the same thing. But obviously, Periscope is a little bit better integrated with Twitter. Plus, it gives you a few other capabilities. For example, you can actually save your Periscope feeds not only on your phone but also with your Periscope account, so that if you had a really cool feed that you wanted to go back and reshare on Twitter, you would be able to do that. Also, you have the chat is part of the app itself. It's not connected to Twitter. The problem with Meerkat is that if I were watching you and you did something funny, I would say, wow, James, that was really funny when you put the cat on your head. That would not only end up as a chat recall, but it would also end up as a tweet from me to all of my followers, and they would say, what the hell are you talking about? Who's James? Where's this cat? What just happened? So it was a little bit of a weird disconnect, and you got a bunch of Meerkat spam on your Twitter feed. And as I mentioned, I follow a lot of techies, and a lot of them have iPhones and Meerkats, and it just, I was like, I can't even look at Twitter for the next 3 days if everybody's going to be doing this. So, but yeah, it seems to be not perfect, but to a certain degree better in a lot of regard over Meerkat. And the Meerkat CEO, obviously, he's not, swaying by this whatsoever. This kind of competition in this vertical is very new, especially now that a lot of these companies have found that niche, whereas before Quick and Ustream and these other live broadcasting apps didn't have before. Now apparently these guys do, and they're just really just going to push that envelope and make it a lot better for the user as well as the company, well, with regard to consumers and advertising models and things of that nature. So personally, I'm excited. I do wish that the developers would hurry up with the other apps for other operating systems, but I also know developers and I know how hard it can be, and it's easier said than done. So when you guys do release the app for Android, yeah, just make sure it's good. That's all I got to say, because when Facebook released the app for Instagram on Windows Phone, it wasn't good. I'm not sure if it was officially Facebook that did it or if they outsourced it to Microsoft to do it. I'm not quite sure, but it hasn't been updated since it was released, and it's still in beta. So that's all I got to say. That's just kind of one example of kind of rushing an app to market. But yeah, Meerkat's out. Periscope is out. You choose. Which one do you use? If you have a preference, if you like this kind of thing, or if you're not really into this kind of voyeuristic experience, and or if you just don't care. Another update of applications and services: Google Drive will now support your Google Plus photos. So we've talked in the past how Google is kind of separating a lot of their key functionality of Google Plus into separate applications, and sometimes completely breaking them off and making them their own apps, or pulling them away from Google Plus and merging them with other already existing apps that make more sense for them to exist in those apps. And so for the longest time, when you took photos on your phone, it would automatically upload those photos to Google Plus, and that was great. That's what you wanted, especially if you do use Google Plus, because it was just an easy share to your followers and circlers on Google Plus. However, for those of you that don't use Google Plus, and unfortunately there's a lot of you, you said, okay, Google, you upload my photos. Where are my photos? I'm looking at my Google Drive, and those photos are nowhere to be found. So now you can find those photos in Google Drive. It's literally just going to be right under, on your phone, if you swipe in from the left, it'll say Google Plus Photos, or Google Photos rather. You click on that, and you'll see all of your photos, every single one. And for the most part, it's going to be the exact same experience as it is using the Google Photos app. So if you already know how to use the Google Photos app, you'll see it in there. If you go to Google Drive on your computer, you'll see it there as well as a folder. And so now really you have two places to see your photos, and they're exact duplicates. They're pulling from the same space. You don't have like, rather they're not copies. They're just being pointed to the exact same file. And so, yeah, if you do delete your photo in Google Drive, you've effectively deleted your photo in Google Plus. So just kind of be aware of that. If you thought that you were doing some spring cleaning, you're doing some overly spring cleaning because you are actually deleting that photo. But yeah, this just makes it that much easier if you want to share photos in like Gmail. Because right now, Gmail, for example, they have expanded the Gmail email application capability to pull email not only from Gmail, obviously, but also like Yahoo, Outlook.com, Hotmail, things like that. Now, they've been able to do that up until now, but they just improved that capability. And now with the Google Photo integration, you can actually pull photos from your Google Drive from the Google Photos account that you've created on your phone. So it's all good. It's definitely a lot better. I'm very excited that they did this. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about a little button that came out of Amazon yesterday called the Amazon Dash button. Now, as I mentioned, here in the United States, we recognize a particular day called April Fool's. And for whatever reason, April Fool's has been something of a pastime for us Americans. And I'm actually not quite sure if this is echoed throughout the world or not. But you know, a lot of major tech companies, as I showed you earlier, play a lot of pranks and games and things like that. I think one of my favorite podcasts, Stuff You Should Know, played a prank on us last year where one of the hosts suddenly quit and said, yeah, Chuck quit. So anyways, here's Ben. Ben, let's go ahead and do the podcast. And I would say about 95% of us were like, what the F just happened? I was ready to hit them up on Twitter and say, how could you do this to us? And then maybe 20 more seconds in, we realized it was just a prank. Amazon introduced the Dash button, and I immediately thought this was a prank. However, this is actually quite an ingenious idea. This is one of many of Amazon's hardware mock-ups, and this fits right in with Amazon's not Alexa, Amazon's Echo, Amazon Dash, which is their barcode scanning solution for people that can use Amazon Fresh, so they can get fresh produce sent directly to them. And now the Amazon Dash button allows you to choose from certain not retailers, but certain brands. So when you're starting to run out of something, you can literally just press the button, and within a few days, because you're an Amazon Prime member, you'll get a replenishment of whatever it is that you want. And you can set, you know, how much of it is. So if it was Bounty, for example, you could say, I want 30 rolls when I press this button. And then maybe one day you realize 30 is too much. I want to bring it down to 20 rolls, or whatever the increment is. You still have control over that. There doesn't seem to be any kind of subscription on this. This is all part of the Amazon Prime membership. However, you do need an invitation to even try it out. So if you do want to try it out, what you can do is go to amazon.com/OC/dash or the -sign button, or just go to Google and type in Amazon Dash button. It'll probably bring you there as well too. And you can choose right from the get-go a couple of brands like Bounty, Tide, as you can see here, Huggies, Wellness, Smart Water, Gatorade. I think that's Coca-Cola or Pepsi, one of the two. Clorox, Izzy. So, I mean, these are all brand name companies, brand name brands that we are very familiar with, and generally things that we need replenishment of. And I would say one of the biggest things that we need replenishment of, well, at least two, are the paper towels, without a doubt, and the water filter. For a lot of us that use like Britas and things of that nature, being able to, at just the press of a button, literally, I mean, how many times have we even used that phrase? At the press of a button, you can order blah, 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 blah. Well, now you can literally just press a button and then within a few days, you'll get that water filter. Now, for those that say, well, what if you press the button 30 times? You can press it as much as you want. So what happens is once you press that button, you will receive an email on your phone or your computer saying, hey, you have submitted this order. And I guess within 15 minutes, if you don't cancel the order, then the order will be pushed through and then you'll get your product in a few days. But you still have that window of time to cancel the order if it was made in error. During that time frame between you making the order and actually receiving the order, if you press the button again, nothing's going to happen. And as you know, with Amazon, they can track the actual package. So on their end, if it says, yes, package has been delivered, and you press it again after it's been delivered, then you're going to go through this whole thing again. So my advice to you is if you're going to use this and you have kids, keep it out of reach. It is a button cell battery that lasts for years. You do not have to charge this. When it dies, it's dead, and you just have to order another one. And I don't think Amazon has actually mentioned a price because this is so new and it's an invite only. I think they're actually giving the first one away for free, if I'm not mistaken, or at least it's $20 for the first one, and then like 2 more are free. And the way that I heard that they're choosing the people to kind of be part of this pilot is you have to have ordered, a particular product a good amount of times if you already have a subscription within Amazon for diapers or Clorox or paper towel, those customers would be the key customers to really take advantage of this. Whereas somebody like me who's brand new to Prime, I mean, in fact, I don't even have a Prime membership anymore. So even if I were to sign up for Prime now and then sign up for this, I probably wouldn't get it. I also probably wouldn't get the Amazon Echo because I'm brand new and they don't, I don't know. They might give it to me, seeing as I'm somewhat of an early adopter, but I highly doubt it. I think they want to give it to one of their more profitable customers because really, even with my daughter, her being almost 3 years old and the whole family going through a lot of these products, the way it is right now, I can't wait 2 days. I need to go get it at Target. So sometimes that's kind of why I use Google Shopping Express. Just saying, because the Amazon one isn't in my location. So, but so this is cool. This is great. This is the next iteration of the Internet of Things for products. And as Tom Merritt pointed out on his show earlier today, it kind of makes his own house a store. I mean, it's like you're looking in your cabinet. Over time, there's going to be, sensors in your cabinets or in your refrigerators. And there's already refrigerators that do this where you go to your refrigerator and, you notice, hey, there's no milk. And even your refrigerator says, hey, you have no milk. Go get some milk. It like sends you a reminder to your phone. It's not too far off base that it would just be able to do that automatically. And pretty much you would go into your pantry and everything would have a button and you would just press the button correlated to whatever product or spice, or tea or coffee bean that you need. And that helps you avoid having to go to the store, helps you having to take the extra time to go to Amazon, find your favorite coffee bean. You just click it and walk away and you wait the 2 or 3 days and you're good to go. So I'm excited to see how all this pans out. I'm excited to see like how many of these companies are going to jump on board, not only for this, but also for the fact that Amazon wants to make this more of as a platform. So if you are a coffee maker machine designer, or that was a terrible example, coffee maker machine designer. If you design toasters, for example, or if you design refrigerators or even dryers like GE designs the dryers and washers that we have. So in the future, it can be conceived that, and I believe GE is already on board, that in the future, they're going to have washer dryers that have this button already integrated into their system. So it'll always have power. There's not going to be a battery that dies. It'll be Wi-Fi connected. You can, obviously maintain all that via your phone or your computer, and at a touch of a button on the GE washer, you can order more washer or dryer towels or whatever they're called. That's great. I mean, that's perfect. That's almost as good as I've wanted it in the past. So, like I mentioned, very, very excited for this. And, it's, of course, Amazon is going to push this boundary, and they have the market and the means to do that. If Google were to do something like this, I believe they would get such a huge pushback because they're already in hot water over privacy. They're in a huge, they just kind of won a huge battle against the FCC with, anti-competitive laws saying whether they were illegally a monopoly or not, and pushing other competition down or not. The FCC ruled in favor of Google, but then I guess we found out that there was a lot of smoking guns that basically showed that Google was purposely pushing down other links, so they only their links and their ads would get priority. So yeah, if they were to do this, I don't think it would actually go over too well. But yeah, so yeah, go to Amazon, go sign up for it if you can, if you have the means, and yeah, let us know what you think. Comments at lazytechguys.com. And so before we go to break, I'm going to talk about one more thing, and this is actually pretty cool. It is actually Google related. And it also kind of goes back to the whole April Fool's thing. How many of you have played Pac-Man? I don't see your hands, but I'm sure if you're listening or watching, both hands and both feet are raised. I don't care what age you are. I mean, the fact that you're on a computer, you probably have had access to Pac-Man in the past. And even if you didn't know it was called Pac-Man, you probably played it. Now in Google Maps, whether you're using it on your phone or your computer or tablet, you can actually play Pac-Man on Google Maps. And the cool way that works is the way that they demonstrated on the computer is that you would open up Google Maps and you would zoom in close enough so where you can see like the individual streets. And then on the bottom left-hand corner, a little Pac-Man logo would just pop up. You click on that with your mouse, and then everything all the buildings kind of fade to black a little bit. You can still kind of see the 3D outlining of the buildings on the top. And then you'll see you'll see Pac-Man, you'll see the ghosts, you'll see those little niblet things that Pac-Man needs to chew on. And you just use your arrow keys to, go up, down, left, right, and avoid them pesky ghosts. I don't know if you can move within the map to go, to a different area while you're still playing Pac-Man. I think you're limited to the frame of the amount of streets that you have in front of you. But what they recommend at Kotaku is if you open up maps and zoom into like a major city like New York or San Francisco, Chicago, something like that, you should be good to go and give that a shot. But yeah, when I heard about this, I was like, oh, this is bad because this is going to eat up my battery life, and I'm just not going to have I'm not going to get any work done. So luckily, I personally only played with it for maybe about 5 seconds, and then I literally had to get back to work. But I was like, okay, it works. Awesome. I'll go try it out a little bit more later on. So all right. So like I said, we are going to take a quick break and take a word from our sponsor. But I do want to remind you guys, we have an open Q&A. So if you have any questions, tech-related questions that we haven't touched on, or if you want to have a dialogue conversation tech-wise, please let me know
hit me up in the Q&A. If you are watching live, there should be an option. Otherwise, as I mentioned before, after the show, you can always call us at 707-722-5299 or email us at comments@lazytechguys.com. But the way that we make this all happen, is due to the great people over at audible.com. How busy are you on a day-to-day basis? I'm real busy. My day job has me commuting pretty much every other hour, if not every other half an hour, depending. And that's the beauty of it, because I get to listen to all my favorite podcasts. But sometimes I want to read a book. And audible.com allows me to do that, but in the form of listening. They have over 150,000 books on tape, essentially, for you to listen to, read by professional narrators and even read by the authors themselves sometimes. Sometimes you can even get periodicals like New York Times, Wall Street Journal, or nonfiction like the new Steve Jobs books, or fiction like Ready Player One, a very sought after book, and going to be a movie later on sometime this year or next year, directed by Steven Spielberg. So if you hadn't had the time to read the Harry Potter quadrilogy, whatever it is, or some of the Star Wars fan fiction, I guarantee you a good vast majority of the stuff you've always wanted to read is on audible.com. Even 50 Shades of Grey is on there. I don't recommend listening to that while driving, but hey, to each their own. But if you go to audible.com/lazy or audibletrial.com/lazy, this will support our podcast, our network, and you will get a free book in the whole deal and free 30 days. Discounts on all the books, and they're on after a free book every month. You can cancel at any time. You get to keep the books, but at least go there, support Audible, and support us. And we thank them for being a sponsor of the LTG network. All right, so we are back, and let's close this window here. I was kind of hoping that I would have my colleague Sean on board tonight, because this next topic really hones in on his area of expertise, and that's music. Now, I'm personally a classically trained musician, but when it comes to like recording artists, that's me in that kind of world. I don't deal with that anymore. I used to, I tried to, it just didn't work out for me, but Sean still does it. If you want to go support him, you can go check out his music channel, Sean Wilbur Music, or he's on SoundCloud and iTunes, and he's even on Google Play Music, which is awesome. Good for you, Sean. But Jay-Z was named as like the main purchaser of this streaming music company called Tidal. In fact, he's not the only major music guy, mogul involved in Tidal. You've got people like Alicia Keys, Calvin Harris, let's see, Beyonce, obviously, Chris Martin from Coldplay, Daft Punk, and even Kanye West, Deadmau5, and Nicki Minaj own part of Tidal. This is a music service owned by the artists, created for the artists. Now, the other big caveat to Tidal is that the quality of the music is, I think, what they call lossless. Like, it's high quality. I know some of you are out there saying, oh my God, Tony, you just said that completely wrong. You don't even know what you're talking about. You're right. When it comes to this, like the terminology and everything kind of eludes me and goes a little bit above me, but it's really high grade quality. And another partner of ownership is SoftBank. Who's SoftBank? Well, they own Sprint. So it wouldn't be far to say that in the future, on future Sprint phones, specifically Android phones, you're going to have a Tidal app already pre-installed. Probably you'll get a month for free. And then after that, it'll be, I believe, $10 a month, which is in line with everybody else. But you get the really high-grade, lossless quality music. And although I know the vast majority of the music that's out there, when we call it high quality, it's really just increased the upscale bit rate, and it's still, garbage in, garbage out. I understand that. But for those tracks that were recorded for the purpose of high quality audio, you're going to get that pretty much with this streaming capability, rather this streaming service. So, I'm just surprised it took this long for artists to push back to the likes of Spotify, like what Taylor Swift did, and these other streaming services. Because I know Radiohead, they had this kind of big upheaval against streaming services as well, saying, you're really only supporting the artists that are already established. You're not really supporting or involving the newer artists that are on the up and coming. And Radiohead, they just pulled all their albums, and that was a statement, but it wasn't really effective because they didn't really make Spotify or Slacker or whoever change their tune. No pun intended. So the fact that we've got these 17 artists that they know what it is. Don't get them wrong whatsoever. Because they're multimillionaires now doesn't mean that they're any less of an artist. Even if you don't like their music, they have done something that you haven't done. And whatever that is, and even if you are a multimillionaire in your own right, if you haven't gone on stage in front of thousands of people, sing your heart out, and to, put your heart on your sleeve on albums and records and tours and everything, it's a completely different atmosphere. And they fought tooth and nail to get to where they're at. So they, in my opinion, maybe not make as much money as they want from the record label and their agent and their manager and everything like that, but they should have some more ownership and more say, to a degree, of a fair and equal amount of, of how the distribution of that wealth from streaming services will go with the service itself and then to the artists. And hopefully Tidal, which is what Jay-Z is really kind of honed in on, is really kind of pressing forth. Now, apparently, the folks over at Beats Music, including Trent Reznor and the guy that created Geffen, Jimmy Iovine, they're also doing not something similar, but they're trying to increase, their bit rate, and they're at least quality wise, they're going to go into the actual algorithm of the music and make it sound a little bit better than the Beats Music app does already. And Jay-Z, to his credit, said, yeah, let's make this happen. Because if at the end of the day, as long as, they don't gouge us in pricing, and at the end of the day, if the artists are happy, competition, just like anything else, is going to be good. So if you have any comments, or if you have any feedback related to this particular story of Jay-Z, Tidal, and this whole thing of digital media and the evolution of digital media, because it's still young. I mean, we're only maybe 10, 15 years into it. I mean, we're in 2015 now, and Napster came out when? So this is so new right now, and we're still trying to figure it out. So there's still room, even though a lot of you might say, well, there's Spotify, there's RDO, there's Slacker, there's this, there's iHeartRadio, there's a lot. Yes, there is, but a lot of them are kind of like, they're kind of clones of each other. Like, they don't really do too much different from one another. Slacker, they're going to be there for a long time, because that's AOL, and AOL, really, that company's not going to go anywhere for those kind of services. So something like this, even if it is $15 a month, I have to double check my findings here, but it used to be $20 a month. I think it's $15 a month now. If you want that really high grade quality music, which there are a lot of people out there that really would prefer to listen to that versus garbage MP3s, then that might prove a point. So let us know. Comments at lazytechguys.com. I'm going to check the Q&A, see if any of you guys have said anything yet. Not yet, but let me know if you have anything that you want to point out. Now, how many of you have played Mario 64? Raise your hand. Again, I can't see it, but it's just funny if you actually did. Mario 64, when it first came out, I thought it was awesome, and I also didn't like it. I was so used to a platformer, with standard Mario Brothers 3 and everything. I go to the right, and left, I go backwards. up until a certain point, because obviously in Mario you can't go all the way back. Jump down, whatever. That's what I grew up with, and that's what made sense to me, at least from the Mario standpoint. And then when Mario 64 came out in all of its glory, in this 3D kind of thing, where not only do you have to turn ever so slightly Mario's character, you also have to turn the camera as well too to follow Mario properly. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Eye-hand coordinate, I just don't know if I can do this. I still can't. So when I play this game or anything like this game, where it's kind of a pseudo plot, I guess it's not a platformer, but where there's a lot of pitfalls, I fall in those pitfalls very, very easily. So, but nevertheless, I showed this to my wife and she thought it was really cool. There is a Unity developer by the name of Eric Royston Ross, and he created the first level of Mario 64 in Unity. What this means is if you have the Unity plugin for your browser, you can play Mario 64 in your browser in HD. That is insane. This was built literally from the ground up. The way that he did it, the way that he explained it, was that he basically created his own engine and his own framework, and he just kind of layered the first level on top of it. Did his own configurations and everything, and he freaking made it happen. If you're watching the video right now, I'll show it to you. If you haven't yet seen it before, this thing is very, very impressive. I mean, almost from the get-go, it's as if, and again, I'm not a gamer. I didn't play this like day and night, so I don't know if there's any imperfections. I know that some people have said that it's almost exactly like the real thing. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what it's missing, or I don't know if he actually added something. But the fact that he got this far and has made a playable game is just awesome. Now, I was wondering what's taking Nintendo so long to send a cease and desist letter, because as you might know, Nintendo is not a fan of their Let's Play videos on YouTube. Like I don't know like how people are able to put their Let's Play videos of like Mario Party on there and stuff like that. I guess some of them are just lucky that Nintendo hasn't pulled them down yet. But I guess I spoke too soon, because apparently Nintendo did send a complaint under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA, demanding that the fan creation be taken down. This was actually last week, so it's a little bit late. I don't know if it's taken down yet. Let's can we take it down? Let's find out. Skip the ad. Let's see. So we can play it in his blog, because I went to the website yesterday and I had no problems playing it. Yeah. You can so go download it quick, or go play in the browser quick before Nintendo really pulls the plug. But no, it was just really cool to see a developer. Maybe it's not his own work of art per se, but the fact that using Unity and using his tools and his know-how, he basically completely recreated the game and then some. So good on you, Eric. That's pretty freaking awesome. I wish personally I had the know-how to be able to do something like that. Now, if you don't already know, my day job, I work for Microsoft. And for that, I have to go to the different retailers of Best Buy and Staples, and I train the sales reps on new Microsoft products, software, updates, questions, things like that. So when you, as a customer, you go into those stores, you can talk to knowledgeable sales reps that have been officially trained by Microsoft. Instead of them just kind of reading it on blogs and things like that, which is not, there's nothing wrong with that. But obviously Microsoft would rather that they have the exact definitive information than some maybe kind of information. With that being said, I have never thought that Microsoft would ever launch a new product of Windows, rather new hardware for Windows before Windows 10 came out. I thought that it would be kind of silly for them, especially since that everybody's already waiting in the wings for Windows 10 to come out later on the summer. And it would be in Microsoft's best interest to launch a product with it already pre-installed right around the time of the initial download of Windows 10. Well, about 5 o'clock this morning, I was proven wrong. Microsoft announced the new Surface 3, not the Pro 3, the 3. So that was the other thing too. When I was reading the headline, when I first saw it come across my Twitter feed, it was actually Paul Thurrott's headline saying, something along the lines of, here's the Surface 3. And I was like, well, yeah, I have a Surface Pro 3 in my trunk. Why are you just now reviewing or looking at the Surface Pro 3? I had to look at it again, and then I realized, oh, this is a new Surface. This is brand new. And then I got like 2 emails from Microsoft Training and then Microsoft, the retail store, saying, meet the Surface 3. So this, if you're watching the video, is the Surface 3. If it looks like the Surface 2 and the Surface Pro 3 got a little funny and had a baby, you're not off base. The reason why they kept the part of the Surface family is really the form factor. You have, you've got your kickstand. It's made of the same magnesium vapor kind of covering. It has a full USB 3.0 port on the right, as well as the mini display port on the right. So that's more in line of what we have with the Surface Pro 3. I don't think it has a micro USB, although don't quote me on that. But what it does have in the fashion of a micro connection is a micro, I don't know if it has a micro SD slot for expandable memory, but it does have a micro USB slot for charging. So that you no longer need to use the kind of strange proprietary magnetic charging wire that we had for the Pro, for the Surface 2 and the Surface 1. Now it's just the standard, run-of-the-mill USB, micro USB. So if you've got any Android tablets, any Android phones, Kindle Fires, you've got an extra USB charger for your Surface 3. Under the hood, it is very different too. But before I get that, hardware-wise also, we have a 3.5 megapixel camera on the front, 8 megapixel camera on the back, and the screen itself is 1920 by 1280 resolution at 10.8 inches in diagonal. So it is over 1080p resolution, but it's not the full 2K that you're getting out of the Surface Pro 3, nor is it the full 12 inches, but it's a little bit more in the smaller form factor range and a little bit bigger than the Surface 2. Under the hood, you're looking at an Intel Cherry Trail X7 processor up to 2.3 gigahertz. So it is a very powerful quad-core mobile-friendly processor. Fanless design, although it still has vents just in case. But this is x86, and it can run Win32 applications. So you can run desktop apps. You can install iTunes on here. You can install Office on here. You can install whatever you want up to 64 gigs or 128 gigs. The 64 gigs comes with 2 gigs of RAM, and the 128 comes with 4 gigs of RAM, and it is only $499. $499. That's almost half the price of the existing Surface Pro 3 with an i3 at 64 gigs. So depending on what you're doing on the Surface, maybe the Pro is going to be better for you. Maybe the Surface would be better for you. If you are a heavy user in Photoshop and you need rendering, vectors, 3D graphics, things like that, you're going to need Pro. If you're a Netflix user and Facebook user and you do some word processing, you don't necessarily need Pro. The standard Surface 3 would be more than enough power for you. And truth be told, when I put my Surface Pro 3 down for work and I pick it back up for fun, that's all I'm doing on it. Netflix, Twitter, Hulu Plus, Facebook. So to a degree, my off the day job lifestyle is perfect for the Surface 3, but I'm not giving up my Pro 3. The other thing about the Surface 3 that you need to be aware of is the Surface Pen does work on it. It does use the same N-Trig technology that the Surface Pro 3 uses. So you have the 250 pressure points of sensitivity. You have the palm detection, which Wacom does not have. But it is battery powered, so that kind of is a plus and minus with that. I've already had to replace my battery on my Surface Pen. But it also does not come with the Surface. So that is an additional $50 buy-in, as well as the keyboard. But that's pretty standard. The keyboard has never come in with the Surface unless you bought a really cool bundle. And the keyboards come in 4 different colors. The pen come in 4 different colors. And the keyboards are $130. And they're pretty much the same as the existing keyboards for the Surface Pro 3. They're backlit. They're the type cover. They're not the cloth, kind of weird clothy keyboard that we have for the Surface 2. And yes, I know that I say we, but again, that's my Microsoft job coming out. I've yet to actually play with the Surface 3, but if you are lucky to be by a Best Buy that has one of those big Microsoft stores within the Best Buy, or if you go to a Microsoft store itself, tomorrow you can go and try it out. So here in the Bay Area, you've got Emeryville, San Francisco, Pleasant Hill, San Rafael. You've got a bunch of those stores to try them out. And, you know, if you've always wanted a Surface, but you weren't willing to throw down at least $800 for a Surface, maybe this Surface would be more in line of what you need. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this. And I'm all for being proven wrong of, you know, a new technology coming out before I was ever expecting it to come out. I just kind of wish they emailed me first or called me or tweeted. Carrier pigeon. That's all I ask. Just let me know before I put my foot in my mouth and tell people that there's not a new Surface coming out until later on this year. So yeah, thanks Microsoft. No, I'm very excited. All right. And one last thing in the bit of hardware from Google. Google had a couple of announcements today regarding Chromebooks and a new Chrome device. Chrome dongle. We'll call it a Chrome dongle, but Chromebooks, they are great for education. Google knows this, and a lot of their partners know this as well. And so they're announced today. There's at least 3 different Chromebooks, or maybe only 2 different Chromebooks that were announced. One was called the Asus Chromebook Flip, which serves both as a laptop and a tablet. So if you've ever seen the 2-in-1s, very similar to the Surface, if you've ever seen the 2-in-1s where you can flip the keyboard behind the screen, then the screen itself just becomes touchscreen, and you can use Chrome with your fingers, or maybe a stylus, anything like that. And then you flip the keyboard back and you just use that as a standard Chromebook. This goes in line with a lot of the Windows tablets that are competing in this 2-in-1 kind of ecosystem. And I've talked about this in the past, where it was rumored that Google themselves were going to launch with a limited run of a 2-in-1 kind of Chromebook where it would actually detach from the keyboard. It doesn't look like Google is doing it themselves, but they have officially made this announcement with Asus for the Chromebook Flip. And for this kind of a device, it's only going to run you $250. So it is full Chrome OS. You don't have the ability to, you know, really install anything on the Chrome. It's all web apps and Chrome apps and things like that. And with regard to the power, again, there's nothing really super exciting about the actual Chromebook Flip with regards to the specifications. And same thing with their other $149 Chromebook. But what this is really, really good for, again, are the students, or if not even them, just the unfortunate, impoverished countries or the third world countries that just don't have the means to go out and buy a $400 or $300 computer. So this would give them that ability to get online, be able to get the information from the internet that is important to them. And for the kids, they can do their homework. They can look up on, if they're doing a report on Thomas Jefferson or something like that, they can do that. And you can, they leave your computer alone. I think this is good. I mean, again, this is not only going to push Apple. I don't know if it will actually push Apple, because Apple has, they don't really care about catering to the lower end market. We've already established this. I mean, hell, they have a $17,000 stupid watch that's going to be obsolete within about a year and a half. So that's Apple. But at least between this and Microsoft has a lot of good. Well, let me redact that. Microsoft has a lot of Windows tablets for under $80. Whether they're good or not is relative. It all really depends on what you need it for. The other thing about the Surface 3, it comes with Office for a year, Office 365 Personal, and a lot of these other Windows tablets also come with Office as well too, so you can do Word editing, Excel, things like that. But if you are integrated into a school system where the teacher uses Google Docs to send out homework and correct homework and things like that, I completely understand why Chromebooks have a place in this world. And I know there are a lot of people out there, particularly journalists, that actually live by the Chromebook. Jeff Jarvis of CUNY, he's very well known to be a Chromebook fanboy, and I applaud him for that. But personally, there's just things I need my desktop for. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm just excited to see that there's going to be a lot more competition from Chrome. As I mentioned as well too, there is this weird Chrome dongle, and this is called the Chromebit. The Chromebit is essentially Chrome OS in a box, but it's not a box, it's a dongle, and it's an HDMI dongle. So similar to Chromecast, you plug it into your TV, you give it power, and you can over Bluetooth or the USB connection, because it has a full USB port, you can plug in a mouse and keyboard, or you can use Bluetooth. It can connect to Wi-Fi to a nearby wireless router, and you've got Chrome OS on your 87-inch flat screen TV. Why you would need that on there, I have no idea. But Google gave an example, again, to areas where computing and having a computer everywhere you go might not be the most feasible answer for them. Having this in your pocket and you go into a nearby internet cafe in some place like Indonesia or Bangladesh, or someplace that internet is only accessible in certain areas in your town. If they have a flat screen TV that's not being used, you could plug in your Chrome OS, boot up the computer. It boots the Chromebit up within about 4 or 5 seconds. You log in with your info, and boom, you're online. And you get all of your email, you get all of your apps and everything. I guess if you're using a flat screen TV, the unfortunate thing is everybody else is looking at your email and all your apps. So, take it for what it is. But it's under $100. It's kind of a cool idea. I'm a little weary about it because I know Chrome OS is different than Android, but we saw a lot of Android OS on a stick before there was Android TV, like after Google TV, when especially like when Ice Cream Sandwich came around, and that was like one of the more solid operating systems for Android, and a lot of people were jumping on that and saying, yeah, we can create Android on a stick for your TV, and it was great. And I have one, and it was cool, but it stopped really working. Like the interface doesn't really work the way that Android works on a tablet or on a phone. So that was killed. Then there's Android TV. Having Chrome in this fashion, if all you're really doing, again, are the Chrome apps and things like that, then by all means, I'm sure you'll find a solution that works for you, but there's just not a lot of development in the Chrome App Store. Now, some of you might disagree, and some of you will say, well, Google said that there's going to be more Android apps that are ported to Chrome. Okay, where are they? There's not a lot. There still isn't a lot. They announced this ability back at I/O last year, and again, I don't know why Google is dragging their feet to get more partners on board, but at the top of my head, you can do Evernote on there, and I don't know. There's already an Evernote Chrome app, so I don't know why you would want the Evernote Android app on your Chrome browser. It's proof of concept. I get it, but it doesn't yet make sense to be able to run that and merge those two operating systems at this point. It just doesn't make sense. But like I said, there's always a niche for all these products that we talk about. And if you are the demographic for this particular product, more power to you. And I'm glad that maybe Google has created a solution for you. It's just, unfortunately, us here in the first world country, or first world, we have first world problems, and this just isn't it. So I'm sorry if I'm coming across as, more biased to that, but for the needs of at least my family and a lot of my friends and a lot of my techie friends, this is a cool thing, just not the end all be all solution. All right. And finally, announced Saturday or Sunday was a doll. Now you might say, why is a doll important? Well, it's Barbie. It's like, okay, you're still not selling me. Why is Barbie important? Well, there's two reasons why she's important. One, my daughter loves her, so you better love her. Just kidding. But two, because this new Barbie called Hello Barbie will talk back to your child. And I'm specifically saying child because even Mattel has realized that they should stop singling out the genders, and they should just say children or boys and girls. And that's awesome. I don't always think that you necessarily have to cater your marketing campaign to a specific demographic or a specific gender. Sometimes it works, like the Lego that is made for girls. A lot of girls love it. And the Nerf guns that are like designed for girls because they're a little bit smaller and they have flowers on them and they're pink. Well, a lot of girls love it, and that's great. But if you have marketing that is still pink and has flowers, and you just say children, it makes it okay for boys to play with it, and the boys don't have to be weary about playing with it, and they're not scared to tell other people that they're playing with it because it's just a toy and they're kids and they're learning to grow, and it's just awesome that they're playing with these things. So the fact that Mattel did this and said boys and girls will love to play with Hello Barbie, I think is very, very forward thinking of them. So I give them kudos for that. The way that Hello Barbie works is that a company called Toy Talk has created a number of web apps where the child can go online, go to the Toy Talk website, and actually speak to characters on the screen, and the character will speak back to them, not in candid responses, but more responses that are related to what the child had said. So they're almost like having a real conversation. So they use the same technology, and over Wi-Fi, they're integrating that with this Hello Barbie. So over a Wi-Fi connection, you would have your Barbie toy. So here's Barbie right here. There's going to be a button on her belt, and you can say, hello, Barbie. You let go, and there's a microphone. I believe the microphone is in her necklace. Say, hello, Barbie. You let go, and she's like, hello. And over time, Barbie can learn you. This is using machine learning. It's AI. It's very intuitive, and using the very secretive but very advanced algorithms, it can go as far as remembering things about you. So if you were to say something like, yeah, I want to be a veterinarian when I grow up, but man, I really love you. It's like, well, I know you love animals, and I know you love to dance. And then, you said the other day that you want to go on a cruise. Why don't you create something where you have dancing animals on a cruise ship as a show. I mean, I don't know if Barbie would actually say that exact same thing, but that is the future of what this technology that Toy Talk has created would allow Hello Barbie to do. And we're just not limiting this ability to Barbie. I mean, Barbie is the test subject for all intent and purposes. If this is a success, they would be able to put this talking technology into any toy. I mean, I'm only 30. How old am I? Am I 32 almost? I'm almost 32, I think. I don't know. I have to double check. But I'm, just over 30. But I remember like it was yesterday with all my little Micro Machine toys and all my little Lego action figures and my Playmobil action figures. I was talking to them and they were inter-talking with each other. And, you're making the voice and everything. And that's great because you are creating a world that nobody else has ever seen before because it's in your mind. But there are some times where you want the little inanimate object to talk back to you. And now we have it. And I think it's great that they're using a voice actress instead of a computer kind of simulated Siri related response or Google Now kind of spit out response. They're using an actual voice actress to come up with these lines. And what Toy Talk is going to do is, under their privacy agreement, they've said that, they're going to collect the data anonymously and parse it in the degree where they would say, okay, what are these kids asking Barbie about? If they're asking Barbie about Justin Bieber, maybe we need to put more music-related queries with our search algorithm with Hello Barbie. Or if they're asking about other avant-garde kind of professions like geologists or, I don't know, plumbers, like whatever that's out there. Like, yeah, like, oh, you like to learn more about plumbing? Or like let's put that into our focus group and see if that's a winner. The problem with that is that it does lead to a lot of privacy concerns for a lot of advocacy groups. In fact, the Campaign for a Commercial-Free Childhood, or the CCFC, said the new technology could be exploited. And I can definitely see that. Imagine your kid is playing with this Barbie and then comes up to you and says, Daddy, Mommy, Barbie wants a new pony. Barbie told me that the new pony is on sale at Toys R Us right now. You'd be like, what the hell? This Barbie is basically becoming a commercial for other Mattel items or whatever their partners are. That's not why I bought the toy. I bought the toy because I thought it was a cool Wi-Fi enabled electronic. I would never think that they were going to be essentially selling ads to my kids. They're not doing that, but they could. That's the legal ramifications. Like, well, they're not doing that, but they could do that. And you can't really, obviously, you can't take people to court on things that they could do. It's only things that they have done. But there's a lot of backlash on this, especially also because if you remember a number of years ago, Barbie spoke as well on another doll that they had. And she said, oh, math is hard. That made a lot of women advocacy groups for, not women advocacy groups, but a lot of groups feeling like the Mattel was thinking that women were inferior to men, especially in the scholastic academia of mathematics. Obviously, that's not true. There's a lot of equals. Some are better, some are worse. My wife and I are pretty much level playing field. I look at my calculator more than she does, but whatever the case is, I can see why a lot of these companies are pushing back because or rather not the companies, but these advocacy groups are pushing back, and they just really want they want a clearer picture of how this is going to work. Another thing about it is that the search queries, essentially, because they are essentially search queries and conversations that the kid is having with the doll, are not only saved for the company. They're also saved for you as a parent. So you secretively, after little Susie or little Benny goes to bed, you could log online with your, your private Mattel Barbie Hello Barbie account and say, okay, what did little Benny say to Barbie today? And you would be able to listen in on the full conversation that your child has had with this doll. That's a little creepy. And there is some times where your child probably doesn't want you to know, you as the parent want you to know certain things. Sometimes you just need to be a parent and realize that your kid is going to be a kid. They're going through things. They're going to say things they don't mean. They're just expressing themselves in the only way that they know how. Sometimes it's dark. Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's exciting. Sometimes it's maddening. Believe me, I've got 2 kids, and they can say the darndest things, and I can either pull my hair out, cry, or just smile with glee. But either way, if you were to spy on your kid like this, I just think there's trust issues with your parenting strategy in general. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But for me, I'm not too worried about that because my son already uses Google now. Like, he's 10, he's almost 11. He already uses Google now. I know Google's already parsing what he's saying. And although he's using it under my account or his mother's account or his grandmother's account, I'm sure in time Google's going to have a voice recognition software over time to see, oh, hey, this kid is the same voice is being used on these 3 different devices that are owned and operated by 3 completely different people. But their overall IP address seems to be in the same location. Their GPS seems to be in the same location. Maybe this is maybe this is the grandson, or this is the young boy. And lo and behold, one day he gets a new tablet and he says, "Hello Google" on that new tablet. Like, oh, that's the same kid. Everything that we were going to sell him on the original tablets, let's move all those search queries and all that algorithm stuff and all those pain points and those points of interest that he was interested in, and move that into his account just based off of his voice. That is not far off to think that Google could do that. But as creepy as that sounds, it's going to be a great experience for him, because once he turns that tablet on, he's like, how did this know I like Freddy and the Five Nights at Freddy? How did this know I already like playing piano? I explain, well, that's Google. It's kind of grown up with you. That's really powerful and awesome for him. See, these kids these days, they don't live in a world of fear mongering and things like that, which to a degree there is a level of responsibility as a parent to explain to them what you should and should not say to Google. And that would be the same thing with a doll like this. It's like, look, you have to understand, when you have a conversation with this doll, at the end of the day, you're having a conversation with the computer. And the only way that the computer can get better is for certain people to listen in on some of your conversations. So just be wary about what you say. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you're interested in the Hello Barbie doll, you can check out a video that gives a kind of a candid demonstration. And I'm sure it's going to get better. I don't know if you can interchange the clothing. I think with some of the electronics, it would make it a little bit harder, but basically it's just a Wi-Fi radio, a battery, a microphone, and a speaker. So it should be okay. So it's $74.99 coming out this fall. I don't foresee it being removed from shelves. I think it's still going to be available out there. And yeah, I'm excited to actually try it out myself. And by the time that this comes out, I know my daughter is still going to be into Barbie, and she's going to be talking way more than she is right now. So we ran over a little bit, and I apologize for that. I was kind of hoping that I could talk a little bit about the who's that? About the Galaxy. Wow, I said it here too. Sorry, not the Galaxy. So used to having Samsung products. About the Nexus 6. I picked up the Nexus 6 from Verizon Wireless just a few days ago, and boy, do I have a lot of problems with it. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to go back to my Note 4 to truth be told, or Samsung, if you're listening. I know I have some review units of the S6 and the S6 Edge coming my way for Verizon. Send them sooner so I can test it out sooner, so I can know if I want that one instead. Let me know. But yeah, for the rest of you that are watching live or listening after the fact, or watching after the fact, thank you very much. We will always appreciate any kind of input that you have for the show, for me. For that, you can always contact us at comments@lazytechguys.com or call us at 707-722-5299. We are on all the social networks: Facebook, Twitter, Google+. We're even on Pinterest, and we're on app.net. I don't think we're on the Russian one, but for the most part, all the major ones. We are on YouTube, obviously. If you want to follow our channel, you can find us at Lazy Tech TV, and our main website is lazytechguys.com. Again, thanks to audible.com for their support of the LTG show and the LTG network. To support us and to show your support to Audible, go to audibletrial.com/lazy for your free audiobook download and free month trial. I am Tony Hannity. You can follow me directly at LTG Tony. It's right. LTG Tony. It's right there somewhere. I can't find it with the microphone on the screen. On Twitter, or hit me up on Google plus Tony Handies. And yeah, let's chat, let's talk, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.